What is going on, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. It has truly been an incredible and fulfilling year for me, both personally and professionally, and I want to thank all of you for tuning into the channel and joining me along my journey. But as the year comes to an end, this is going to be our final market report for 2024. So let's get right into it. If you are new to the channel, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. You've caught me just in time before the year is over, and I want to wish you and your family a happy holidays. December has been a month of reflection and building systems to prepare ourselves for 2025, but the year is not over yet, and you deserve one final market report for the year. So we're going to see what the December numbers have to say about the real estate market in Tampa Bay. Before we begin, I do want to say I am a licensed agent in the state of Florida, so if you have real estate goals or questions or plans on relocating to Florida, especially the Tampa Bay area, I would be honored to earn your real estate business and help you achieve those goals in 2025. So I'm going to drop my contact information on screen so you can get in touch. Without further ado, let's get into it. In my market report videos, I cover 3 key metrics within all residential properties that cover the 4 major counties of Tampa Bay, which are going to be Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco, and Manatee. Those 3 key metrics are active inventory on the market, average days to sell, and average sales price. These 3 pieces of data are going to give us how many properties are actually available, how many months of inventory we have, of course, how fast the properties are selling from the time they are listed, from the time they are closed, and then of course how much the properties in their respective areas are selling for. First up on our list, as usual, is Hillsborough County with an active inventory of 5,732 properties, taking an average of 62 days to sell, with an average sales price of $519,995. All 3 decreases from what we saw in November. Next on our list is Pinellas County with an active inventory of 6,515 properties, an increase from what we saw last month, taking an average of 63 days to sell, a decrease from what we saw a month ago, and an average sales price of $526,288, an increase from what we saw in November. Third on our list is Pasco County with an active inventory of 4,180 properties, taking an average of 66 days to sell, and an average sales price of $368,578, all 3 of which are increases from what we saw in November. Lastly, we have Manatee County with an active inventory of 4,159 properties, taking an average of 81 days to sell, and an average sales price of $575,875, all 3 increases from what we saw a month ago. Now, what do I make of this information? Again, for the past couple months, we've been in kind of a limbo phase after the hurricanes, and it's shaken up the real estate market here in Tampa Bay because there's so much uncertainty around future weather concerns. And of course, the election happened this year as well, which was a reason a lot of people put a pin in their real estate goals. With that being said, there's one thing I am noticing. Pasco and Manatee County are both trending upwards. They are having more inventory, but at the same time are resulting in higher prices. They're taking a little bit longer to close, which could be for a plethora of reasons, especially after the hurricanes. But when I looked at the migration patterns last month from where people are moving into the Tampa Bay area from and where they're moving away to from the Tampa Bay area, I noticed that those who reside here now, who are moving away, they're either moving south to Manatee and Sarasota County, or they're moving further north to Pasco, Hernando, even as far as Citrus County. Now, of course, this is all my perspective, but I do believe that these migration patterns are playing a role in why Pasco and Manatee County are trending upwards in both active inventory, days to sell, and purchase price. Now, Pinellas County is also trending upwards outside of its average days to close, which is just barely down from what it was last month. However, with more inventory and higher sales prices, what I'm taking into consideration is there's still several properties that have been abandoned by the hurricanes. Now, these waterfront properties are potentially between $900,000 and $3.5 million. However, there were a lot of owners that have just completely dropped what they owned. They don't want to take care of it. They don't want to make the repairs. They don't want to have to go through insurance. And for all these reasons, they've abandoned these properties and they're selling them at a discount, sometimes up to 50-60% off. So this average sales price may reflect a lot of these investment deals where people are going into these waterfront properties paying cash for a price that is absolutely absurd, and thus we see a very small increase in purchase price in Pinellas County. Now, regarding the largest of the four, Hillsborough County, it's the only one that's trending downwards. There's less inventory on the market, they're taking less time to sell, and the purchase price is going down. Just very slightly from what we saw last month, but still downtrending. And what I would say is Hillsborough is the most expansive of the four counties. You can kind of find most property types in Hillsborough County. You have a little bit of rural, you have some investment properties, you have some properties that were damaged by the storm, but you also have some, more posh neighborhoods where the properties are very well kept, elevated, protected from the hurricanes. And you also have some developing areas where there's a good mix of affordable housing and investment properties, as well as brand new homes in areas like Tampa Heights and Old Seminole Heights. For the most part, I would say the Tampa Bay market is the most balanced it's been in the past 4 or 5 years since I've been in the real estate game. An example, earlier this month, I put a property under contract where I'm representing the buyer, and the property had only been on the market for a couple hours before we went in. My client loved it, and they were like, we want to submit an offer. Now, we were able to pull some strings a little bit and structure the deal in such a way that my client is going to have a significant amount of their closing costs and down payment covered by the seller. So I negotiated for a certain percentage in seller credits to go towards my buyer's closing costs. That way they would pay less money out of pocket at the time of closing. I'm seeing this as a recurring pattern as more properties start to hit the market in the Tampa Bay area, and the more inventory there is, the more likely it is for these kind of deals to take place. I'll conclude with my overall perspective on both sides of the transaction. If you are a seller, there's a lot of things to take into consideration. First, there's more inventory on the market now than there has been in the past several years. So that means you, your neighbor, and your buddy down the street are all in competition to see who's going to be first to get their home sold. This means taking all the necessary steps to make sure your property stands out. The things that will benefit you most are going to be curb appeal, interior staging, interior and exterior paint. These 3 small things, believe it or not, can give you substantial increase in property value and list price, and ultimately the price you close at when you finally decide to sell your home. If you are a buyer, you have a little bit more leverage. There are several properties on the market, so a lot for you to choose from, but given the current state of these properties, there are several properties that are going to be in distressed condition, and if they aren't, it's going to push the price up in those areas that did not see damage from the hurricanes. However, you can seek out those properties that have been on the market a little bit longer, that are taking longer to sell. These sellers typically tend to be a little more desperate than the person who's been on the market for less time. So those are the ones you can pounce on if you want to make an offer that may be under list price. Another strong negotiation tactic I've put into my business is sometimes you don't have to offer below asking price, but instead give the seller their full asking price and negotiate some seller credits to pay for your down payment and closing cost, or whatever other fees may be associated with you purchasing your home. It can almost be beneficial to put in an offer over asking. That way you can really milk in all those credits. Remember, if you're a conventional buyer, you can only receive up to 3% in seller credits at the time of closing. If you are VA, I believe it's 4%. And if you are an FHA buyer, you can receive up to 6% of the purchase price in seller credits to help you with whatever your associated costs are. I hope it didn't drag this video out too long, but I'm going to wrap it up there. Again, If you have plans, goals, or questions about moving to Florida, especially the Tampa Bay area, I would be honored to help you answer those questions. I'm going to drop my contact information below so you can get in touch. But that's going to be at the end of this video. So if you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Peace.